somehow use the idea of the media wind, where the press is blowing up some news item or another, and use it to generate some wind. And yeah, so these are just different ways in which this might be done. And the first one was to use balloons, but we realized that was kind of infeasible in terms of technology, and so we decided to think more about other options.
Okay, so then we went on to thinking about initially clocks. Usually, like in an office environment, you tend to have like 3 clocks that have different times from different parts of the world. So then we started thinking about using those sort of timings, and how we could use some sort of form of projection from the internet. So say like using the weather or using a webcam feed of whatever's happening in that city at that time. So we developed quite a few ideas based on that. But then we got thinking it's going to be quite difficult for a person to wait around for ages and wait for something to happen. So we were thinking we needed to open our ideas more to other types of interaction, and how these could be displayed visually, not just by projection, depending on time. We were just looking at time in another sense. So then we looked a bit more at floor interaction, what floor outputs we could use, what sort of data we could use off the internet, what we were both interested in. So
the idea of using water for interaction because of the last project. And so I was also interested in making kind of alternative interface for video mixing, because it's not so common at the moment. So I had an idea for using different kind of drippers with liquid inside, and that could symbolize the length of maybe a video clip, and that would be dripping onto some surface where it would be projected. So from there we moved on to this idea where we were thinking of using something like a waterfall, and because we were both kind of interested in the topic of time and how to make it into an interactive experience. So I had an idea that it would be nice to have kind of something like a digital clock where you have hours, minutes and seconds, but you would have maybe a video feed of, for example, people walking up and down stairs to define the seconds. So the rhythm of people are kind of determining the time, but at the same time it would interlude with the real actual time. And had an idea that somehow people, this would be a sequence of images that is progressing as time is going. So it would be this clock that is moving with images flowing. And if people would like to save a bit of the time, then they would take some of the water out and somehow store it somewhere else. And later on maybe people could put it back in, and that would overlay with what is currently happening as well. So it's like mixing the past and the present. And another idea was to have